Welcome, namaste. My name is Krista, and today I have a yin class for you, primarily focused on getting a deep stretch into the neck, shoulders, chest, and upper back. A lot of us hold a lot of tension in those areas, so spending a little time in these poses today will hopefully bring some freedom to those areas. The meridian lines of the lung and heart travel through these areas, and in the emotional body, the lung is said to carry grief and sorrow, primarily emotion. So we use our breath to get that grief, sorrow, anxiety kind of up and out. And as far as the heart meridian line, which also travels through the chest, is it's the great motherboard. It is the life giver and responsible for all emotion. So the intention behind this class today is to find some freedom in the physical body through the chest, upper back, shoulders, neck, and in the emotional body, so we can let go of any grief or sorrow that we might be carrying and fall in love with life itself. Before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. In yin, it's a prop heavy class, so you will need a couple either yoga blankets or a stack of folded towels. Okay, we'll be definitely using those today, so make sure you have a couple of those. And again, you don't have blankets, you can use towels. A set of yoga blocks would be really nice if you don't have yoga blocks. In this case, for today's practice, you'll be able to use your stack of towels. You can even use a stack of books. And I would grab a strap, if you don't have a yoga strap, a belt from your robe would work, right? Anything that would just give you a strap. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start today in a supported butterfly pose. So you can take your 2 blocks or your 2 blankets here, that would work too. We're going to take 1 block or blanket here, and then 1 block is going to support your neck. You're going to come down onto your back, holding your thumbs here onto the blanket or to your yoga block. And as you start to roll over the block or blanket, you really want it at the thoracic spine. So if you were to come in here from the chest, the blanket or block is supporting right underneath the thoracic spine or the middle back. Take your second block or blanket, I like mine up a little higher, and support it underneath the occiput of the skull here. So you feel there's a little pressure point in there, might feel kind of lovely. Take your palms down along your side, turn them up, and then bring the soles of the feet together here and just let the knees drop down. We'll take a few moments just to come into our center. Come into fully inhabiting our bodies, dropping into the moment and dropping into our breath. Just take a moment to slow down. Sometimes we don't switch gears immediately, so give yourself a little bit of time. Soften your eyes. See if you can just soften the muscles of the body here. Anything that might be causing you to disconnect. See if you can just use this moment to use your breath to connect to your inner world. Take a nice deep breath into those lungs. Big inhale, feel the chest rise. As you exhale, release any tension from the mind, the body, the heart, the head, the neck, the shoulders, the chest. Inhale again deeply. Really fill the lungs with breath. Exhale and relax completely. Inhale again deeply through the nose. Fill the belly and the heart. Exhale and relax completely. The shoulders melt down from the ears. Tissues around the chest soften. Inhale again through the nose. Feel into the great expansion, the limitless possibility as you breathe in, the giver of life. Fill the lungs. And exhale, just let the breath wash down through the body, relaxing you completely. Stay for a couple more rounds of breath, just deep breathing, inhabiting the space that you're in. Two more rounds of breath. Inhale deep and wide. Exhale and relax completely. And one more round of breath. Inhale. And exhale. Before we come into our first pose, I'd like for you to invite an intention in for this practice today. What matters most? What is most healing for you in this time that you've carved out for yourself here on your mat? What would you like to place your attention on? Is there anything that can help bring you more freedom? Anything you need to let go of, any sorrow, any grief? Anything that can remind you of love and compassion and to fall deeply in love with life, that anything you touch, you can nourish with your own grace. Breathe deep into that intention. Find the edges of your knees, bring your knees together. Your hands along your hips. You can roll over to your side if you'd like, or just sit yourselves right up, and we will come into our first pose. So today we're going to move into our first pose, Anahata Asana. It's going to liberate the chest and the backs of the upper back and shoulders. So in Anahata Asana, we start like we'd be starting in a child's pose. If you'd like to place a blanket or something underneath your knees because you feel it might be more comfortable, feel free to do that. Have your yoga blocks or your second blanket up here at the top of your yoga mat. Bring your big toes to touch here wide, and we're going to sink our hips back like we're coming into a wide-kneed child's pose. We're going to be in most of the poses today for 3 minutes. So what this pose is going to look like, I'm going to show you two versions. You're going to come here into child's pose and take your arms into prayer hands, namaste hands. We're going to bend the elbows and eventually start to take the thumbs behind the head. Okay. So there's version one. Those of you that might feel a little like you need a little more in your upper back, now remember, more is not always better. You can take your yoga blocks or your blanket here, place your elbows on the blocks, and then start to sink the hips back. Beautiful. We want to a little more weight on the outer elbow here, and that will broaden the shoulder girdle. So let's go ahead and take this first pose. I just have my watch on here to time us. So we'll be here for 3 minutes. Please just enjoy. Let the heart space melt. The Anahata. The next 3 minutes, maybe feel into your back body, the back door of the heart. So your heart spread wide. Inhale deeply into what you'd like to create. Just let it come in through the back of the heart. And exhale out what you no longer need, right through the front of the heart. Keep releasing down. Anytime you can walk your elbows forward. Stay present And breathe. We want to move into our edges here. So go right up to your edge, not beyond it. It's kind of 3 rules of the yin practice, that we move to our appropriate edge. We stay at that edge. We hold the pose in stillness best we can. And breathe. And let the magic of this practice do its work. Stepping out of the way. Notice any tension in the neck. Let it release. Just keep the weight in the hips. Notice how you breathe here. Notice if your breath feels restricted or if it feels spacious. When you inhale, can you feel your ribs not just expand up, but expand out? Really fill. Full diaphragmatic breathing. Just notice when you exhale, everything knits back into your center. Natural rhythm. As you inhale from your center out. And then back in as you exhale. And everything comes from within. It is an inside out practice. You move from the inside out. Just a few more moments here. Beautiful. And then as you come out of this pose, walk your elbows a little forward. Come on out of the pose. Take your hands down to those blocks or the earth as you sit up. Move your yoga blocks out of the way. And we're going to come on down to our belly for Sphinx pose or seal. As you come on down to the belly, and press your navel into the earth, walk your toes back and take your forearms in front of you now. So they can be in front of the shoulders here in yin versus in our other classes where we really want that bone stack. Yin's a little more freedom. So just kind of move your hips a little here, turn your toes, your big toes towards one another so you don't feel any deep compression in the low back. There's always a slight amount, but it's not too much. Okay, so we want to find that really nice balance of being able to feel grounded through the hips and stretched out through the backs of the legs. Pull the belly in a little so there's a tiny little bit of tone in the belly. And then let the chest bones drag forward. Let the shoulders melt down your back. Okay, so we'll be here in Sphinx pose for 3 minutes. Now, halfway through, there's another option you can take, and that would be to turn the hands out. You can even start this way if you already feel really open in the back. And you can straighten the arms here and come into seal pose. So there's choices here, but we want the chest to melt forward. Okay, so don't let these poses create tension. They're here to liberate it, all right, as a deep stretch. Any version you'd like, let's go ahead and come into our Sphinx pose, and we will be here for 3 minutes. Now, if you give yourself a little more pushing into the thumb and pinky finger, you're going to activate the meridian lines, a little extra activation of the heart and lung meridian line. Close your eyes, release any tension in the glutes, really release the legs. So the lung meridian line, it starts at the lungs. It actually starts at the solar plexus, sorry. So you can maybe travel this in your mind's eye. It starts at the solar plexus And it goes down first into the large intestine. Then it loops back up into the stomach and travels through both lungs. So it splits and goes through both lungs. And as it travels up there, it travels to the base of the throat, where it goes up just a little more and then splits at the collarbones. So it travels wide across the collarbones and then comes down the forearms, inner arms, forearms, and stops at the thumb. So as you press down a little more in the thumbs, you can activate the lung meridian line. The heart and lung meridian lines work together, and the heart meridian line, so it starts at the heart and it moves down into the small intestine. So it actually has 3 paths, so that's one, from the heart down to the small intestine. The second path for the heart is it goes from the heart up to the throat, up through the throat to the tongue, then comes up and branches into both eyes. So kind of that love in your eyes. And then the third branch is in the heart, and it moves across the heart to the lungs, down the inner arms, and to the pinky fingers. Keep breathing. At any time, feel free to go into the Sphinx pose. We're here for another 30 seconds. And the lung meridian line helps control the breath, controls our energy. The heart meridian line assists in circulation of blood. Deep breath. And the bridge between the heart, the body, and the mind is the breath. Anywhere the breath flows, just observe, listen, and move deeply into that space. Use your breath to help create more space. Beautiful. Walk your hands back for a moment and just lower the forehead down. So we're going to move into some nice shoulder openers here. Lift up just a little and take your left hand forward. I want you to thread your right arm towards the left and your left arm towards the right. Walk your hands out as much as you'd like, that feels comfortable, so that deep cross at the elbows, and then just lower your head down. You should feel a deep stretch in the outer left arm. Back of the left shoulder. Again, just here for 2 minutes. I'm going to watch in the clock here. Kind of tied up like a little bow tie here. When the mind wants to wander off into stories, see if you can remind yourself to come back to the moment, to come back here, to come back to what's present. And we are just about there. Got one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to release now. You're going to unwind, and you're going to take your right hand all the way out to the side. Take your left hand next to your chest. Now do this very slowly and start to roll to your right. Your right ear is going to come down to your mat, or if that feels uncomfortable, put a blanket underneath your right ear so that you don't feel like you're compromising the neck in any way. Now you can simply just bend your top leg, your left knee, and let it go in front of you. Some of you might want to put the left foot behind you. Again, be very careful here as we stretch into the top of that right shoulder, the front of the shoulder. And we will be here for 2 minutes as well. So just take a nice deep breath, and 2 minutes. Notice what you notice. And practice gives us time just to be with ourselves, to notice our stories, notice the repetitive thoughts, notice the things that continually come up for us. Notice where we're attached, needing things to be a certain way in order for us to feel happy or to feel content. The only problem with that is that things are always changing, right? That nothing's constant. So having to be attached to having things a certain way eventually just leads to our suffering, leads to misery, leads to needing to be controlling and kind of locking up. Same goes for when we try to avoid everything, when we push everything away in order not to feel a certain way. That again eventually catches up with us, right? It comes around. How do we find peace and freedom here in all the moments of our lives? I'm just about there. And we are going to slowly now come out of this pose. Really slow, roll onto the belly and unwind completely. Beautiful. Just take your hands along your side for a moment. Maybe come up into a little cobra pose. Just pull the chest forward. And then exhale as you come on down to your belly. Good. We're going to start on the other side now. So right arm's going to reach forward. Left arm's going to thread through. Right elbow on top. And then we're going to just go ahead and lower the forehead down. And we'll be here for 2 minutes. And just taking a nice deep stretch. Feeling into your edge, being still, breathing. In that stillness, you will find the answers. That you have all the answers already within you. You can nourish everything you touch. You can nourish from the inside out. We can keep our hearts open and trusting that all the love and all the compassion we need. All those needs will be met. A nice place to breathe across the upper back, shoulders, back of the heart. I always like to think of love and compassion as a verb. That it's always in action, it's moving, that it extends, that we are an extension of just that. Stay present. And we're going to unwind now. So slowly unwind this pose. And now the left arm is going to reach out to the left. And you're going to slowly take that right hand next to the chest, roll onto the left side. Please go slow, especially if you've had any type of shoulder injury. You do not want to go beyond your appropriate edge, right? There's no good comes from that. It's just creating more harm. All right. Anything overused, eventually it will wear out. So let's work for preservation, nourishment, kindness, practice compassion right here with yourself. Notice where you're attached to what something needs to look like, feel like, be like. Notice what you avoid. Again, none of these are meant to cause yourself to be self-critical or judgment. They're just beautiful opportunities to observe our samskaras. And the samskaras, those yoga grooves, those deep grooves in the mind. It's like the roads that we travel again and again and again and again, just on autopilot. Our yoga mat is this fertile ground for practice to see our habits, not just in the body, but in the mind and the emotional realm. See if they're serving. See if they're no longer serving you. And then we take action, right? That's the karma. Karma means action. No more passing the buck, no more blaming. Just taking full and radical responsibility for how you feel, for how you are showing up, and then taking action. You know, what you can do about it. And that you are your own governor. You can choose and decide at any moment how you'd like to feel. And really diving into the heart, the meridian of the heart, the expansion of the heart on all levels, the boss of all the emotions. One more breath here. That's so nice. And unwind slow. It's just as important that you come out of this pose as gracefully as you came in. So please come out slowly. And come into a Sphinx pose again, just for a moment. Drag the chest forward, release the shoulders. And take the hands down. Beautiful. Come up to your hands on your knees. Coming into supported fish. So here's where we're going to take those towels or those blankets. I want you to roll up your blanket. Both blankets. You're going to roll. One blanket is going to go under the neck. Very similar pose that we had in the beginning of class. So one blanket at the neck. You can see that the light's changing. I'm beautiful outside today. Practice. Feeling that warmth and nourishment of the sun. So the one blanket's going to come underneath the neck, and then one blanket is going to come, again, right under thoracic spine into the supported fish. So you can control how much you like this blanket. We don't always need as much as we think. As you come back, bend your knees and take that blanket, again, right where a bra strap or a heart rate monitor would be. That's where you want that blanket to be. You're gonna roll over the blanket, so a little bit deeper than that very beginning pose. You don't have to use the blanket under the neck if you don't like, or you can place a blanket underneath the neck as well. Okay, so we can leave that, I can leave that right up to you. I'm not going to use the blanket today. It feels nice for me to be here. So the shoulder blades themselves, as you can see, have freedom. My shoulders here have freedom. They're not on the blanket. So I'm going to go post my arms, bend my knees, and just let the knees teepee in here. You can do anything you'd like with your legs. Just breathe across the chest. A nice opportunity to really feel the width of the collarbones. Keep the belly soft and relaxed. And just continue to breathe. Continue to fill the lungs. Continue to expand the heart. Just feel into the support system. The earth. And the prop underneath the heart is just holding you up. So that you can experience that natural expansion of the heart. Everything you need to know is already here. It's already within you. Taking a few more rounds of breathing. Just inhaling into that sense of joy and ease, expansion, natural extension of the heart. Filling the lungs. And as you exhale, use the lungs to release any grief, any sorrow, any anxiety. Inhale, expanding and clearing space, making room. And exhaling out, letting it all release. The grief, the anxiousness, the anxiety, the sorrow. We hold these things in our tissues. So the lung being the most important way to move energy through the system. Moving the breath through the body. Therefore, using the breath to your advantage, taking in what you need, and letting go of what you're willing to release. Really nice. Just take your hands along your side and slowly come up to seated. As we come into these last finishing poses, you're going to move your props to your side and come on down to your back, where we're just going to neutralize the spine. So hug the knees into your chest, allow the knees to soften towards the shoulders. Really press your entire back into the earth. Work with that nice long spine and integrating this practice today as we finish it off with twisted roots. So a nice deep twist. Take your hands out like airplane wings. cross your right leg over your left leg. You can wrap your right foot underneath your left shin if you'd like, or left calf, or not. And then you're going to put you're just going to draw the knees in, and then as you exhale, roll over onto the left hip. That right shoulder is going to come up for a moment, but versus trying to get the knees down to the earth, I want you to drop your right shoulder to the earth. So if that means backing off the twist a little, back off so that the right shoulder is connected. Remember, we're working on opening up through the chest and releasing tension through the neck, shoulders, and upper back, heart meridian line. So there's an opportunity here to really breathe deep and wide into your whole right side. Really inflate the right rib cage, the right lung. Maybe you turn your head towards your right shoulder, chin towards the right. Maybe not. Maybe that doesn't feel good in your body. Deeply nourish what matters most, what you need. And creating more space in not just the physical body, but more space in the mind as well. More space between the thoughts. So overall, there's just this sense of spaciousness and room to move, room to extend. And you bask in this pose, bask in the stillness. Bask in the moment that everything is okay, just as it is. Bask in your wisdom, your earned wisdom, your insight, and your discernment. Keeping the heart open, the house of spirit open. The heart's not afraid. Your heart can hold a lot. And breathing in all directions. This final few moments of breath here in this beautiful twist. Under a minute. Last cycle of breath, deep inhale. Maybe an even deeper exhale. And squeeze the inner thighs together. Slowly bring the knees back to center. Unwind the knees. Draw the knees into the chest, curl up. And then open your arms wide like airplane wings. Cross left thigh over right. And slowly take a twist towards the right. Rolling on to the right hip. Left shoulder may come up a little, but we're just going to lift it and then let it slide down to the earth. And spiraling from the navel, whole left side of the body open. Open into the trust, into the expanse that your needs will be met. That it is okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to nourish yourself, that you become so full, so heart full, that whenever you're in relationship with anything, you nourish it, you touch it with grace. You let the heart spill over. Just trust that your needs will be met. Stay with it, keep dropping in. As you're working towards Shavasana, towards the ultimate letting go, to the ultimate blending, the full embodiment of mind, body, spirit, everything functioning as one beautiful unit. No separation. Under a minute here. Time for about 5 really full breaths. Take this last breath. Feel the lungs, the heart expand. Stay expanded even as you exhale. Bring the knees back to center. Unwind the legs. Curl in, nose to knees, chest to thighs. Take one deepest inhale. And as you exhale, release your entire body into the earth, to this final 2 minutes of Shavasana. You just allow everything to release. If you're touching any props, move your body away from the props or move the props away so the body senses that it has all of this space, all of this freedom to just expand. The nervous system, calm. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Exhale and relax into the earth. Inhale deeply. Exhale, even more relaxed. Inhale, expand. Exhale, let your whole body relax even more. Every last ounce of your being. As you let your essence now, you feel into your true essence, which is space and expansion, deep connection with all things. Feel yourself as part of it all. And just very slowly now wiggle your fingers and your toes. Feel free to stay here if time permits. Stay longer in your Shavasana. Stay as long as you can. Otherwise, bend your knees. Hug them into your chest. Slowly roll over onto your right side. And take a moment to come back into that intention, just remembering what your medicine is, what you can layer into the rest of your day, rest of your evening, that you can bring into your relationships. As you press down into your left hand, slowly come up to seated. Come into a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Sitting up nice and tall, let your hands rest gently on your thighs, palms up. Line the crown of your head up over your tailbone. Take a deep inhale as you fill the belly here, feeling the natural expansion of the heart. And exhaling any tension out of the shoulders, any last residual dropping down, releasing the shoulders down. As you bring your hands to the heart in gratitude for taking this time today to honor your body, to honoring any release of sorrow, any release of grief, energizing the lungs, bringing in new energy, finding a new pathway. And thanking that heart, the house of spirit, that ever-expanding heart, the motherboard of love and compassion that courses through us all. Please take a deep inhale as you root down and feel once again in that inhale how there's a natural expanse of the heart. And as you exhale, we simply lower down the mind to the seat of the heart, in deep honoring and deep gratitude. Thanking the heart for all that it's been through, for all that it's gotten you through, and for all that it will continue to get you through. I thank you so much, truly, for practicing with me today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So much peace to you. Namaste.